Hi, welcome to Ekascloud. My name is Jagdish Mupati. Today I'm going to talk about virtualization. Um, what is virtualization? In simple terms, it says running multiple virtual machines in a physical machine is called virtualization. So what do you mean by that? So in an ideal world, we may have an individual PC or a server which has been allocated with a set number of memory, the hardware, the RAM, and the networking infrastructure like the networking card and many other things. So in real world, like some of these resources may not be utilized ideally. Some of the RAM could not be utilized on the actual server. So what in terms of the virtualization, this is where virtualization comes into picture to make better use of the existing resources on the physical hardware. So what do you mean by virtualization? This is like to truly understand virtualization, you need to understand the hypervisor, which is a software which acts as an abstract layer, sits between physical hardware and the virtual world. So what is the job of an hypervisor? So hypervisor make use of the existing resources available on the physical hardware, and then it is going to pull out the resources and then it start allocating it to individual virtual machine. So that is why I said in simple terms, running multiple virtual machines in a physical machine is called virtualization. Another definition you could say is in computing, virtualization is the act of creating virtual rather than actual version of something, including virtual computer hardware platforms, storage devices, and network resources. So we are going to look at the benefits later on. We are going to talk about types of hypervisor in virtualization, because that is the crux of it. And we wanted to, the core of virtualization part is the hypervisor, which does the job of creating multiple machines, multiple virtual machines. So what is virtual machine? Virtual machine is a machine which can be a spin-off from the existing physical hardware. And this will have all the computing resources like physical hardware or the host machine. So virtual machine will still have a hardware like RAM, the memory, and the computing power, the processing power. And you can able to go freely install any software on it, any operating system an individual want. It could be a legacy software or it could be a latest infrastructure. This is the true potential of the virtualization. So where is it used? Virtualization has been there for many decades, but the true nature or the true potential of virtualization has been completely utilized in the last couple of decades. And the one thing immediately comes into our mind is the cloud computing, because of the existing infrastructure improvement on the broadband availability and stuff like that. All of these virtualization concept has been beautifully implemented in the cloud computing. So we are going to talk about types of the hypervisor. So we looked at hypervisor. Hypervisor is a software which sits between the hardware and the virtual machines. The job of the hypervisor is to utilize the existing hardware resources from the host machine and start allocating it to the virtual machines. So there are two types of hypervisor. One is the type 1. It's also called native or a bare metal one. So what do you mean by that? Here, on the existing hardware, this hypervisor sits on top of the hardware. There is no native host operating system involved, but instead the actual hypervisor will be sitting on top of the existing hardware itself. So what is the advantage of it? This will provide a true low latency, because there is no host operating system involved and there is a less number of layers to deal with. And this is the most widely used in the market right now. And there are many companies vendors provides different options. We can talk about VMware, which provides the EXXi, Citrix, which is the Zen server, and the Microsoft one, which is the Hyper-V Core. So in this case, hypervisor runs directly on the physical machine. and it creates and monitors the guest operating system. Guest operating runs on separate layer above the hypervisor. That is what the type 1 or the bare metal one. So the second one is also called hosting. That is a type 2. This is probably not widely used, but this is used probably for development and testing purpose. So in this type 2 hosted hypervisor, the host operating system, there will be an host operating system on the physical hardware, and hypervisor sits on top of the host operating system. And then it will start spinning multiple virtual machines, or the guest, what we call as the guest operating systems. What are the benefits of it? Of course, this has got a high latency, considering we have a host operating system, and then we have hypervisor sitting on top of it. So this is not probably widely used on a production environment compared to the type 1, but these type of virtual machines probably used on the end user machines, mainly for development and testing purpose. So there are a couple of vendors widely used across the market. One is the VMware, which provides workstation as a software, which can be used to create multiple virtual machines. And then Oracle company provides a software called VirtualBox, and Microsoft company provides a software called Hyper-V. These are some of the examples what everyone is using in the market at the moment. Thank you for listening.